On Tuesday, Bournemouth went into the Everton game in not too good shape with suspensions, injuries and a whole lot of poor form. But we thought an Everton side who have just been smashed at home by Newcastle might be the perfect tonic for us, especially given their horrible history at Dean Court. Alas, it was not to be. And Tom, a 1-0 loss, a disappointing loss, and Cherries fans rightfully concerned about what they saw on the night. It was bad, wasn't it?
Yeah, just a bit, mate. I mean, it was just a bad game in general, wasn't it? I mean, respect to Everton because that's a proper away performance. But if you're a neutral, you wouldn't want to watch that one. I think I said in the preview, it was a good game. It was an absolute crap game because I don't think either keeper really had anything to do. They just took their moment. But yeah, it was more the performance other than the result, to be honest with you, mate. And I think it goes back to my little thing that I always say about games on paper. Everyone was like, oh, hello, we've got West Ham, Sunderland and Everton. We scanked 1 point. With
no such word as winnable.
No, but yeah, we were really poor. I don't think anyone was good, really. So yeah, it was a little bit concerning that we've actually been quite fortunate up to this point in terms of injuries and suspensions. Now a few of them have come at once and we don't look right. Too many big players off it. The group looks a little bit divided and not together like it normally does. So yeah, worrying signs, mate. And it was the last two games have been absolutely crap to watch.
They've been terrible. So this is a brief second look ahead of our Chelsea preview. Midweek matches, of course, always play around with our schedule a little bit. So we'll try to condense our thoughts into about 20-25 minutes. And so much so we've created 5 talking points. So 5 things we noticed after that performance. So first one are the inadequacies of our squad coming home to roost. Number 2, Semenyo and squad harmony. What's going on? We've got a third point, Captain Sarcastic. Tavernier had the armband and then tell the fans what he thought. Number 4, have we got like-for-like depth concerns? And then the final point is the Andoni Uncertainty. How is this good for signing any players in January, or the ones that we have got, keeping them here? So look, we totally realise that these talking points that I've just put in front of you, Tom, are very fickle, because a number of games ago we were saying how brilliant this all is, how we've pulled off a blinder in the transfer window. So we've gone from that to questioning every little thing that happens.
Yeah.
What's gone wrong?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think there was obviously, we're pleased with the players we got in, but I don't think anyone thought it was really a blinder in general. I think the main one is Trofeo for Kirkus, because of how Kirkus is doing. Yep. I still think that's because he's at Liverpool. I think he'd be doing well for us. But yeah, regardless, it's very similar to last season, just at a different stage of it. That it's brilliant, it's all good, and then we fall off a bit of a cliff because the squad isn't strong enough to when we pick up a few little injuries and a few people dip off form. Yeah, so it's worrying, mate. And yeah, they've come at once, and I'll add another point to it. Maybe we need the Scottish players when the weather's crap, because it's the ideal games to get them to isn't it? But yeah, it just feels like rinse and repeat, but just at another stage of the season.
We've got the ability to bounce back though, because we've done that before. I mean, even this season, Brentford in the League Cup, that was a bad performance, one of our worst. I think when people think of our worst, they think of that. But now Everton supersedes that somewhat. But that, our sense, was more of a tactical blunder from Iraola in fielding 11 players that hadn't played together before, and largely rotated the whole squad.
Yeah, I think we looked at it and said that virtually the whole 11 weren't there at the start of pre-season, because either injured or new signings. And I think Iraola actually, obviously it was a while ago now, but he almost virtually said after the game, I made too many changes at once. I think he just wanted to get all the fringe players in. They were fit, so I understood it. I couldn't remember being really bothered at the time with the team he put out, but it just didn't click, didn't work, and yeah, it was pretty bad. But we still had treble the shots that we had against Everton, mate. It was just a bit of a poor one. But yeah, that was the worst one for me for sure.
But we had the ability to bounce back after that performance, so we certainly can again, and hopefully this is just a blip, and history tells us that it could be, but when you're in the moment, you've got to say it's very difficult to handle. The league table has us in 14th position, exactly where we said we would finish, and look, we're pretty much a third of the way through the season, just over. So it's going to be interesting to see how it pans out. We've got some difficult games ahead. The worrying thing also is our form table. This is based on the last 6. We are in relegation form. Thankfully, there are some awful teams in the league this year, but a few of them beneath us, maybe not the relegation threatened teams. Well, actually, I say that. Leeds got a result. We could be dragged into it. You never know, but we certainly hope not. So, look, Tom, we'll not go through the game chronologically, but we will just show the team that was selected. The whole back line that we had, back five, was not with us last season. Nor was Krupi, nor was Adley.
I didn't think of that.
That's 7 out of 11 players that weren't even at the club.
Yeah, that is a surprise. I think obviously we knew because of suspensions that would probably be the back four that Milo would have to come in. And yeah, I think in my prediction, I got 10 out of 11. I think I went to have over Clive, didn't I?
Our defence wasn't where the problem was, really, was it?
No, not particularly.
They did,
no.
right?
Yeah, they were fine in their defensive actions anyway. I managed to randomly call Krupi, then I felt like he might come in for the game. It's a real shame that he obviously got one that didn't count. But yeah, I think in general it was kind of as expected, similarly for them. But yeah, it is a good point you make there that there's quite a lot of new bodies there, and maybe that's why, you know, we're all surprised Anton Semenyo's wearing the armband, for example. Yeah. And then Tav comes on to wear it, and you're going, ooh, are we lacking a little bit of experience and leadership here? I'm sure we'll come on to that.
But one of the things that, whilst we have got a brand new backline there, a lot of, when we've got Marcus Senesi, a lot of how we play stems from that player in particular. Yeah. So not having him seemed to be absolutely huge. But look, before we get onto that, I want to spin some positives.
Go on.
It's very difficult. We had half a side out through injury and suspension. We lost to an Everton side that won at Old Trafford with 10 men, so let's not take anything away from them. And I think we made it clear in our post-match fan cams that we needed to give them credit, and we did. We lost to a wicked deflection. Yes. And for the second game in a row, one of our players took a sort of needless touch in preventing us scoring, because we had a goal ruled out for offside. So look, I'm just going to put that there to start off with. Yeah. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, for the Everton, if there's any Everton fans listening, really, just to balance it out, they had both their right backs out, Coleman and Patterson. Garner Gay was obviously suspended as well. I don't even think they brought Diblin on, did they?
No, I don't think they did.
I mean, he would have got in our team.
Yeah.
So, you know, they've what I'm saying is they're missing a few as well. Probably not as much as us, but they are missing a few. And yeah, and the obviously they have the Old Trafford game, but they did get battered to Newcastle. But yeah, fair play to them. They deserved it. And yeah, I mean, it wouldn't have, like I say, it's a deflection, so you could kind of go, okay, 0-0 may have been fair, but we didn't deserve to score. I mean, I can't remember Pickford diving.
Good point. Well, point one then, are inadequacies coming home to roost. Look, we've been in a situation before, namely in January, where we were depleted, but we had this sort of, you know, temporary bounce and a lot of togetherness, but it soon unravels, and it almost feels like this season being a repeat of that. Yeah. We always seem to have this kind of siege mentality, this kind of group, doesn't it? They're all together and they're all, like you say, in that sense. But it feels a little, I don't know what it is. It doesn't feel right. There were silly fouls, and no one seemed to want to grab the ball and take. There's no one there that, you know, it's normally Semenyo. Very silly foul.
But yeah, which are silly fouls. I mean, it was topped off by Tyler Adams, who's probably our most intelligent player at the moment. He's probably been one of our best players this season. He's been really good at managing his 4 yellows. He just goes and kicks someone over by the family stand. They were going nowhere, and it's a blatant yellow. It's kind of like, why would you do that? Because you know you're out the next game now. Very bizarre.
It seemed all over the place. The identity of I didn't recognise us. I really didn't. And you know, like for the first half or whatever, it just felt like tactically we were happy to soak things up, and like, we never do that. We usually move the ball fairly quickly, you know, take the game to Everton. We didn't do that whatsoever. Players were maybe understandably being a little bit safe with the ball, scared to do anything wrong, and safe. You know, defensively, I think you know, Velko and Diakite. I think, you know, Diakite especially has come in for a bit of criticism. Velko maybe his distribution somewhat. And even Truffert recently, but it's all like they just didn't want to do anything wrong, which is, you know, maybe our sort of Achilles heel really, because we are a risk-taking side, and when we don't do that, we don't seemingly sort of kickstart any attacks.
Yeah, I think I understood. I've seen a lot of people online and stuff giving like Diakite their man of the match, or
I thought we did all right.
They were fine defensively because they didn't do anything wrong defensively, but you can't, in my opinion, I think it's really weird that I've seen a few people saying that them two were brilliant, but we didn't have any tempo and we were slow and rubbish. Well, that was because of them, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because they were brilliant defensively, didn't do anything wrong, won all the duels against Barry, didn't they, really? Yeah. But when they got it off most of the time, like Petro, they just passed it to each other, passed to the side. Celeste's getting you up to halfway. So that's where the tempo starts, when you've got the ball, and there was none of it. Troffer's the same. I think Troffer's 6, 7 out of 10 every single game. Never lets you down, really. Yeah, he might get caught now and again like everyone does, but he's pretty consistent. Yeah. But I've never seen him take a risk. gets the ball, passes it to the side, all left-footed, and then he just whips the ball in, which is normally quite a good ball.
Yeah.
But you're thinking, look at the size they've got Krupa in the box. Why are you just whipping it in? So yeah, it just felt, the only one I felt wasn't playing safe was Jimenez.
Yeah.
I said to you off camera that I would have tipped him for man of the match. The only reason I kind of was hasty to do that was because he maybe got caught on the goal a little bit, and that was a decisive moment. But I liked that he was a bit more of a risk taker.
I think because our centre backs are relatively green and inexperienced, it meant that Adams dropped back quite a bit. Even Alex Scott did, which created this chasm in the centre of pitch, and Everton were just completely overrunning us. And it does feel as though maybe we've got some inadequacies in our squad. And look, even though we've been on a poor run of results recently, the underlying numbers have always been good. That was not the case on Tuesday. So Premier League, more like Prem naive. That was what ChatGPT came up with for a pun. I don't know. Our focus on young players is admirable, but you mentioned to me that there have been clubs like Sunderland or whatever who've got something like a Jacker that can help bring that experience. And I just felt, I know we've had a few older heads in the side. Maybe we've gone too young.
Yeah, well, I think it's a weird one because I think when I get it, because when you think of experience, obviously you think of older players. But I think even last season, for their quality, we know how good Zabra and Howson in particular were. But even for a young age, they brought a bit of leadership, I felt, both of them. I also think Kepa, the only thing I miss from Kepa really, because I actually think he's no better a goalkeeper than Petrovic. But I think he was a bit of a leader. Yeah. He had a good bit of experience back there. He was always shouting and what have you. But I think, and obviously without Smithy on the pitch, and then obviously Christie's out and Cookie's out, and you think, and I look at other teams like you just mentioned there, mate. Sunderland are doing really well. They've got all these young, vibrant players, and Jack has just controlling it, and he's telling them what to do all over the pitch. I think you could even go to Brentford, Jordan Henderson. Everyone thought, well, they're signed in. Brentford doing really well. They've got loads of young, vibrant, energy players, but they've got someone in there that's kind of doing that bit more of that leadership. I see us sometimes with set pieces, and I don't feel like anyone knows really what they're doing.
Was that our youngest Premier League 11?
I believe it might have been. Yeah, I think it might have been. So yeah, it feels a little bit, certainly from the recruitment side of it, it's been rightly so. We've got a lot of plaudits from it because there is a lot of positives from it. But we're signing young players and then selling them on. There's got to be a balance. It's got to just keep signing kids and selling them on. I mean, you still got to make a squad that works and is, united. And I'm not sure if maybe we could do with a little bit more kind of old school pros in there potentially, bit of leadership and all that. I remember back in the blooming A days, we'd have a bad run and he'd go, Pew Daniels back in, Frano's back in for a game. He'd just do that because it's almost like he wanted to reset and go, I need the ones I can rely on. Yeah. And I don't think we can really do that. I appreciate that players like Ryan Christie and Adam Smith's obviously come back to fitness. They would help that for sure.
Okay, our next point then, Semenyo and squad harmony. I mean, his form seems to have dropped off a cliff, and reading between the lines, it seems to me that there was an offer that came in in the summer, probably a bit too low. And I've said this before, we've probably said to Antoine, look, we need to get more from this. Stay, play with us for like 4 months, play out your skin, we'll pay you what you want, you will get your move, but it's got to be at a fee that is agreeable to, obviously both us, but also a club that's going to be interested, like your Man United's, whatever, whoever it's going to be. 65 million. We all thought it was too low based on the recent performances. I'm not sure. I'd probably take that. However, his performances haven't been up to scratch. History tells you that players, when they're in this position, where they know they're going somewhere, their form does drop off for fear of injury. That is what seemingly is happening. And just, I don't know, is it the butterfly effect of like other players smelling out the fact that your main talisman wants to go? They're probably also maybe not as invested as well.
Yeah, it'd be hard to be invested in a project when you've lost a lot of players over the summer. Then you're hearing your best player this season's got a release clause, so he's probably going to go January, and then you realise that Andoni's still outside of contract. I
mean, that release clause would not have been put in there if he wasn't going.
Yeah.
Why would it?
No, it pointless. And I've been, because I think you've kind of more understood it more than I have in terms of we've probably had a lower offer, and I appreciate that maybe he wouldn't have stayed otherwise, and we're trying to get more money out of it. I'd be very surprised if it was much lower than 50 that we got offered. I'd be very surprised. You could even if you say 40, okay, whatever. So we're that desperate for him to stay, we're willing for him to go for another like 20 million in a few months' time. Well, we weren't bothered about 20 odd million when we signed Luis Silestera and Roman Fev and Hamad Traore, and I don't understand it. And if you don't expect him to have this purple patch or whatever you want to call it, if you don't expect that, then accept the money in the summer.
Yeah.
Because all that's going to happen is if he does have that purple patch, then everyone's going to be looking at him, and then the agent or whoever is obviously going to put it out there. And now he's a human, by the way, Andoni Semenyo. He does not want to get injured.
No, of course he doesn't.
Of course he don't want to get injured. It would hamper everything. So I think he's struggling with a balance personally of thinking, because let's remember, a team's still got a bid for him in January. So if he absolutely throws it in, which I don't think he's absolutely throwing it in, but if he absolutely throw it in, a team might not bid, and then he ain't going anywhere anyway. But if he gets injured, then a team definitely won't bid. So he's trying to get the balance of, he clearly doesn't want to get injured. You can tell he's not as powerful. He's not getting in there as much. Yeah. But equally, he doesn't want to drop off his form either. It's a juggling act, mate. But yeah, literally since the clause has been released, he's been absolutely pants.
Yeah, there is a big concern of just how that affects the players mentally. We don't know. We'll talk more on that in other points. Yeah. I'm absolutely certain. But he's failed to score or assist in any of his last 6 Premier League appearances. Just remember, after the first 7 match rounds, he was second only to Erling Haaland for goal involvement. So there definitely has been a drop-off. Next, Captain Fantastic, or more like Sarcastic, Tavernier. He had the armband for a bit on Tuesday night, and he took the ball forward. And he played a pass back, but the crowd were on his back, and then he turned round. I didn't really realise at the time, but was it a 2-finger gesture or
it sounded
an
like
F-off or something?
It sounded like he mouthed F-off and put the fingers up. What was weird is, I told me you never know for certain, but it was just groans really. But I thought, and I think a lot of people have said it online, the groans were more because no one was getting up and supporting him.
Exactly, yeah.
And he turned around and passed it or whatever, and then gave it some to the fans while wearing the armband. And then after that, you think, okay, football fans are fickle. We just want our team to win. If you, after putting your 2 fingers up, put in a really good last 20-minute performance, we'll all forget about it. He lost the ball every time he got it after that. He lost the ball for that goal, I think.
And you're a big supporter of Tav, so...
Big defender. I think Tav gets a lot of unfair criticism because I think he's... Unsung hero is probably too big a word, but you appreciate what I'm saying. He doesn't get all the headlines. He's not Semenyo, he's not Clive, he doesn't score worldies all the time and blah, blah, blah. But I just think, put him anywhere, he'll do a job. I can't defend that, mate. I mean, I see that. I know it's not the biggest thing in the world. It happens, but I don't like the fact that I do always think with footballers, they're all there singing and dancing when we're cheering their name and stuff and singing after a win. You can't do that when one bad thing happens, one groan in the crowd. Yeah. And the fact that he had the armband at the time is not a good look. As I say, it goes to that earlier point that we kind of alluded to, mate. I think we've had, God knows how many captains we've had to have this season. How Tyler Adams and be one of them, by the way.
We must have had 5 or 6 maybe, I don't know.
Smith, Cook, Christie, Semenyo, Tav, Brooks. That's 6 already.
I mean, wow.
Yeah, that's 6 already. And I think most people would say, I want it to be Adams, really. But but yeah, it was a weird one. And then what obviously didn't help him was it didn't seem to help him because he seemed to lose his head because he was terrible after that. Yeah. He lost it every time he got it. Concerned for him now because, it's a difficult one. We might have to, but do you start him? I'd probably say no. But then,
what almost teaching him a lesson?
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult because we haven't got the bloody players.
I think Jordan Clark had an interview with on BBC Radio Stone. He didn't sort of directly pose the question, but Andoni tackled it himself and sort of alluded to the fact that it's not ideal for players to be doing.
Yeah, I thought Andoni handled it quite well, to be fair. Would have been easy. I think a lot of managers would have said, I didn't see it, I haven't seen it. Do you know what I mean? Just avoid it. It's a fair play. But yeah, I think it's a difficult one because you start him and he don't play well, then you're going to be a lot of criticism how is he starting, but if we need him to come on, you don't want a bad reaction from the crowd, which I hope won't happen because at the end of the day, whatever you think about it, we want to win the football match. If you want to give him some after the game, all right, but during it, let's try and support. But yeah, it wasn't ideal, mate, and it kind of summed up the night, didn't it?
So when the season started, we made a load of new acquisitions. The thing that's quite clear, though, is that in a number of positions, we don't seem to have like-for-like depth. So we're talking Marcus Senesi. Whilst we did get Diakite in and Velko, etc. When he's out, we don't function the same. When Christie's out, we don't function the same. We're yet to see what it's like when Adams is out, but I worry for Saturday as well.
I think there's so many, mate. I think the Senesi one was that's why I didn't go into it too much earlier when we were talking about the centre-backs, because this is what point I wanted to make, because they were both good defensively. James Hill's always pretty good defensively when he plays as well. When Senesi was out last season, obviously we had Dean Howson, and what I mean is the mould of player where you've got one of your 2 defenders at least who brings the ball up the halfway line, dictates tempo, plays the passes. Without Senesi, we cannot do that because the 2 centre-halves are not good enough with the ball. So I was noticing so much on Tuesday. We're just and we're just knocking it around. It's going nowhere. It's really slow. If you watch it when you got Senesi, suddenly you're 10 yards out the pitch.
Yeah.
Because when he gets it off normally like a Petro or whatever, he's spraying it, he's taking you up.
And we were pumping balls forward when they had like fee fi fo fum at the back up against Krupi.
Yeah.
But then they were winning the second ball as well anyway, because Scott and Adams were so far back, so everyone was trying to protect the
whole pitch was deeper. I think Senesi was a big part of that. I think Adams is a good point. I mean, we'll obviously see on the weekend, but it's quite evident that we haven't got anyone that is a Tyler Adams mould of player.
Nope.
And we've had that for a little bit of time, so I don't know why we haven't looked at that potentially. I think Christie is so obvious. I mean, everyone knew that in the summer, that we haven't got anyone that's like Christie. And when Christie's out of the team, we really, really struggle. He's obviously tried to have there a few times. He did it in pre-season, because I think, again, Andoni's trying to be a super coach and trying to make someone that, because he hasn't been given them. You could even go into, and this is no disrespect, because fan of the channel, Will Dennis, but you could even look at that, mate. We've got a big money goalkeeper who's played for Chelsea and for country. If he gets injured, we've got a bloke who's never played. Yeah. Really, never played competitive football. Really.
True, yeah.
So that's another one. I even think with the strikers, we've got no one's like Evan Nilsson, no one's like Krupi, and no one's like Unal. They're all completely different. So in some aspects, it can be good in game. We've seen that this season with Unal and Krupi, that you can change a game. You can change it because you've got a completely different player. But what that also means is when you're on a bad run, you go, but if ever comes out, we lose the press. We don't have anyone that does the press. If Krupi comes out, we ain't got a goal scorer. If Unal comes out, we ain't got the focal point. So you haven't got anyone that's like for like. Obviously, we can bring Jebo back if needs be. But you know what I mean? I think it's one of these points that obviously, because it's football, it only comes up when you're on a bit of a dip of form, but it just becomes evident. I even thought the other night, and he hasn't been good lately, but the other night when it was so boring, I think I could do with a little bit of Brooksy technical, just keeping hold of the ball and making the right pass. So I'm pleased to have him back. But yeah, it's bit of a concern in that sense, mate. There's too many key players that we're too like. We were saying, to be fair to us, we were all saying it when we were winning games. We go, oh, as long as nothing happens to Adams, or if nothing happens to Christie, because we all know that there's no one quite like him.
And now it's happening.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of, certainly the fan base, uncertainty about Andoni Iraola as well, and we don't know what's going to happen. We do. Well,
we don't go in it. So
what is he? I mean, but like, if it hasn't been announced or whatever, like, what must the players be thinking? Yeah. What must anyone potentially... I don't know whether we're going to make any signings in January. History tells you that, I mean, last January when we were threadbare, we didn't. Yeah,
don't you hate this that everyone goes, well, we'll just spend money in January? Well, we didn't when we had no players.
Exactly. And also, I think the new consideration to add in as well is the new squad cost ratio method rather than PSR, which means it's going to be even harder for us to do what we want to do. So which part of history tells you that we're going to sign players?
The only reason we'll sign players is because Semenyo will go, probably.
Yes, maybe, but...
So we'll just be replacing him.
How do you market the plan to a potential new player when we don't even know if Andoni's going to be here?
No, I know.
And he says that, well, I don't usually do things this way, I'll do it later. But, like, we need some stability. Yeah.
And he has done it. He did it before.
Exactly.
That's why he's here till the end of the season.
And we need to some kind of continuity. So it concerns me a little bit, and therefore it must be concerning some of the players surely as well.
Yeah. I think you alluded something, didn't you, with kind of the way Brentford go. You have to get onto that now.
Well, you know what? I said it on fan cams, but I cut it out because I think it would have probably made fans more confused than enlightened, because I didn't say what I was trying to say. But what there's this tweet from the training ground guru that was referencing Brentford and the whole aim of theirs of trying to dismantle the concept of a unicorn head coach, i.e. someone that's paid a shit ton of money, has all the answers. That's a flawed leadership concept. It feels like a little bit at the moment, if Iraola went, we'd be screwed.
Yes.
That would not happen with Brentford, because Keith Andrews, he come out of like relatively nowhere. What was it, just the academy or whatever?
Yeah.
He's got a guy that's got all the attributes of what they need. They've looked at the data, whatever. Yeah. And they've put him into that position and it works. He could get plucked out of the air by someone like Spurs or whatever. It might not work because they've not got the structure that he needs around him. They've got it perfect. At the moment, there's like loads of onus on Andoni.
Yeah,
if he goes, we're probably screwed a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure. Let's not be too disrespectful in the sense that I'm sure the guys that powers that be will have a plan for when Andoni goes. Of course they will, but I appreciate what you're saying. Brentford have got this. If you're going to talk about projects and models and stuff, then you've got to have that. And Brentford have got it. I think you could even, without knowing all the ins and outs, I think I said to you, I look at Brighton as well. They had Potter was the next big thing.
Yeah.
He went. De Zerbi was better. Then how are they going to cope without De Zerbi? Hertzler's doing really well. So, they've kind of got that as well. It's kind of like they know that. So it'll be really, as much as I don't want to say it, it will be interesting if Andoni went and then a day later we've got someone that we knew we were going to get.
His successor will show whether we have got that benefit.
Yes.
Because
my hope would be at least that it's someone that we don't, because we didn't really know Iraola, did we, coming.
Right.
If it's someone for abroad again, my hope would be that it's because he plays the same style of football.
Yeah.
So you're saying to the players then that this manager might go, but this is the style you're signing for.
Yeah,
that ain't gonna change.
I hope that style was instilled by the people around Iraola rather than Iraola himself, exactly, and Iraola was just perfect for what they wanted. It sounds like that was the case because they let go of O'Neill, who kept us up.
Yeah.
So one of the things that the not knowing what manager we'll have next season, though, is I think, and also based on the fact that so many big players have gone, I'm talking 4 out of 5 our back line. I've said that phrase so many times over the last 6 months. With Tara, probably Semenyo as well. What are other players like Clivert been thinking? If I was him, I would not be surprised if he has a little word with his agent and puts his name out there over the next 3 weeks.
He and also I bloody love Justin. He scored 1 worldie this season.
Yeah.
Apart from that, for the levels we saw last season, what the hell is he doing? He looks like a player. I've never seen a guy lose the ball so much in that first. And he looked like he couldn't be arsed. I've never seen that with Clive. So I think, and also he's quite young, and how many clubs he had. So that's a little bit of a concern for me. I think he's been looking a little bit switched off. As you say, we all know about Semenyo, Tav now. I mean, he was linked with a few clubs like the West Ham and stuff on in the summer. So.
But what motivation does it give a player when you don't know who you're going to be playing for next season? And also, like, with so many players that have gone, like I said, and the club, actively saying, well, we're not going to step in anyone's path in order to let them achieve what they want to achieve. And with the seemingly this kind of disharmony within the squad, wouldn't you be like having a word with your agent? Just put my name out there for a bit.
Yeah, might as well. Yeah, because what's the worst that can happen? No, I appreciate what you're saying. And I think I've seen a few tweets about it. We've got to get the balance right because
we're so negative, mate. It's probably not all that bad.
We'll be fine. We should be absolutely fine. But it's just a little bit annoying when, same as last season, that bit of hope and then it all transpires. But I think. I think in terms of that aspect, it's all right saying we're not going to stand in anyone's way, but I think Pinto had something like, we're not going to stand in anyone's way if they want to go to bigger, better things, as long as they help us achieve our goals too.
Yeah.
Well, at the moment, we've let everyone go to massive clubs.
We're a little bit subservient,
but we're not. I mean, I'd be absolutely shocked if we finish with more points in a higher position as we did last season. So that's not progressive, is it? So but. C'est la vie, mate. C'est la vie. Are we doing all the player ratings crap and that?
I'm going to ask you who your best performing.
Well, I'm just going to say what I said originally, which was Jimenez, but he did cost us the goal potentially. But
he got a 7.0,
so that's
but
Semenyo
and Trevor 7.2.
Just because they're on the pitch for longer, probably made a few dribbles and that. I think overall, obviously, is it Grealish? Yeah, I thought Irabunum was really good in the midfield because he got quite an early yellow, and I thought he was brilliant after that. Doesn't surprise me. There's quite a lot in there that are 6s and stuff.
Yeah, it was a very, very disappointing evening for AFC Bournemouth. On the one hand, it sort of reminds me of like Eddie Howe's relegation season a little bit, but it's not that bad. We're not. But when you're in the moment, it's very, very difficult to feel optimistic. But don't worry, things will be okay. And we've proved that we'll have these moments where we look so threadbare, and then we face a big side. Last time Newcastle, this time Chelsea, this time at home. They've just been beaten by Leeds. Maybe their confidence will be low. Maybe it will be a reaction that they need against little old AFC Bournemouth that are struggling, and they'll roll out winners. Who knows? But either way, it's been a pleasure, Tom.
Has it?
No.
All right.
Have a chess.
Go on, boys. I'll do a preview.
Ah.
What a fact.